rambling aside, we are going to begin the Scrapstar Series. We're starting off with Yoshi Bowser versus Mr. Christie. And we are in for a treat as Mr. Christie is going in with Springtron. We've got a battle of the robots right from the get-go. Yoshi Bowser going to go in with the Seeky Slapamander, and it looks like Christie is going to go in with the Slamamander and a Tri-Blast. Those are two pretty effective arms, Mr. Krusty. The Tri-Blast Slamamander is a pretty solid loadout on Springtron. The Mander can get you win confirms into EMP, and then the Tri-Blast is just a really good poke and safe arm. Starting things off, Yoshi just applying some very solid pressure. Is just playing a patient game, just making sure he doesn't get too invested in anything, and just trying to catch Christie's movement. Christie trying to make a lot of calls, a lot of setups, and he's not having too much luck so far, and is holding a pretty solid health deficit. That Seeky just causing him a lot of trouble, even taking away his rush and getting stunned, giving Yoshi a very safe rush, only gets 200 damage, allowing Christie to stay in the game, but a charged Slapamander is going to reach in and gives Yoshi the first round. Mr. Christie gonna make a quick adjustment here, chooses to put on the Megawatt and tosses that Mander aside. Now he's not gonna be able to get a solid EMP confirmed if he can find that opportunity. But the Megawatt's just gonna be a very effective defensive tool and just allow him to keep his momentum, his tempo, and just keep Yoshi Bowser at a much safer distance for him to get things like that. Could have been a potential EMP there. He's not gonna go for them. He's just gonna keep up that sit all the movement. Likely not wanting to try to get caught out like Yoshi was able to catch him before with that grab. And Christie holding on to a very solid lead this time. That Megawatt really helping out in this long-range match. That's going to be a stun confirmed. Yoshi going to take advantage of that with a grab and try to keep Christie in the hot pocket. Christie going for the EMP rush bait. Isn't going to get the KO, but does get an explosion shortly afterwards, bringing the score to 1-1. Kid Cobra is hot. Heading into the final match of this first game. Christie gonna stick with his loadout. Yoshi sticking with the Seeky Slapamander. Worked really well that first round, but it's starting to struggle a little bit more as Christie's just having a much easier time walling those arms out with the weight of the Megaton. That heavy weight, that larger body, just allowing Christie to effectively punish a lot of Yoshi's attacks as he's making a lot of very direct approaches. Things that are a little difficult to get around a Megawatt. Bark constantly getting knocked down. Does get a quick recovery on those, but just the number of times Bark is falling down, he's not really able to contribute much to this fight. One more hit is going to allow Christie to take the first round. Or the first game, and is now at an advantage of 1. Christie started off with a pretty strong... Since when did Bark contribute? He didn't really have much of a chance to, because he just kept getting smacked down by Tri-Blasts and Megawatts. Solid pressure can be really hard for a Bite and Bark player, especially if they're just throwing out so many explosions. If Bark isn't punching down the Tri-Blast, he's probably going to get... If Bark isn't punching down the Tri-Blast, the Tri-Blast is probably punching him down. Well, it's tricky. It's tricky talking about who the worst character in ARMS is. Well, actually, not necessarily. That's not the problem. The problem is the mentality towards who the worst is, because the worst like talking about who the worst character in ARMS is like talking about, oh, I don't know, like what the worst Kirby game is. It's like, okay, so you think Kirby Dream Land 2 is the worst Kirby game. It's still vastly superior to so many other things in so many other avenues. Like even the worst character, like what people would consider the definitive worst character in ARMS, still handles a lot of these matches pretty well. They're able to go even with a lot of people, and you can see some surprising upsets. Like, even the lowest tier characters are pretty good. It's all about just learning how to implement their movement and equipping them with good tools. Heading into our next match, we are going to be heading over to the sparring ring. Yoshi equipping a megawatt of his own to try to counteract this weight offset. Starting things off, though, that Mander just not reaching in yet. It's gonna reach in now because I said that. Also, it took like 15 seconds. We're just barely in the match, so I shouldn't be saying stuff like that. So far, though, both players holding out about even. Both utilizing their megawatts just to kind of wall the other out, waiting to see who goes in first. Generally, both players right now are just constantly getting caught out by one thing or another. Yoshi just punishing a lot of the dash movements and just the slow extension of the Tri-Blast and Megawatt with these solid Slap-a-Mander reaches while he's protecting himself with his own Megawatt. And Christy just kind of catching Yoshi off guard a lot with these quick catches, these setups that just Yoshi was not ready for with the Tri-Blast. Yoshi slowly giving himself a much more advantage position and is going to get the KO, taking the first round. Christy going to respond to this predicament by setting himself up with a Tri-Blast Slam-a-Mander. That's going to allow him to more effectively work around that Megawatt, much like what Yoshi's doing right now. So we got a little bit of counterplay going on. Both players holding about even, getting a few solid trades. Christy not able to find any space to get any EMPs here. It's a pretty tricky and unsafe thing to do, especially against Bite and Bark, as even if you get that win confirmed, that might have been a safe opportunity, except for the fact that Bark can just keep that pressure and prevent you from EMPing. Christy gonna try to punish that, but Yoshi had the weight advantage and shut him down. Christy trying to find a way in through this flurry to bring himself into a health advantage, but he's really struggling to keep up with Yoshi, as he's got a slight disadvantage right now, is a little bit ways to getting KO'd, and Yoshi just has a rush lead as well, meaning that Yoshi has a very safe opportunity if he just sees a confirm like that one, and he's going to be able to get a KO, bringing the score to 1-1. Yeah, there's a difference between Pichu with an exceptionally good player, and like Pichu is definitively in Melee an excessively low tier. Like, he's bad. Just like definitively bad. Like, yes, you can arguably make him work in certain matchups and things still, but not in the way that like you can make Bite and Bark or Master Mummy or Masango work in this game. Like, the characters in ARMS all have very strong abilities and opportunities that they can work with. We saw a few of them just in this match. Like, they're all really good characters. Some not as good as others, which is where lowest tier kind of comes in. But that's about it. Most of them are still really strong, really pronounced. There's a reason, well, beyond everybody being like a devotee to their main, there's a reason why a lot of people don't shift over to whatever the high tier is. Heading into this next match, what likely will determine who will be heading off to face a Griffa. Christy going to go in with the Megawatt Slamamander here, and we've got ourselves a bit of a mirror. That EMP is going to give Christy a safe opportunity to get a second one. That might even be a third one. He's going to take advantage of it, giving up a lot of space, but now has a massive speed advantage and permacharge arms. So whenever he connects, it's just really powerful. Christy unable to find another confirm off, finally gets another one, and that's just going to be another opportunity that he's going to try to go for. Does not find that chance to get the EMP. Yoshi gonna keep up with that pressure and slaps him right out of that next charge. Christy gonna try to throw out a rush. It's not gonna be able to connect. The Mander having a tricky aim to it, and that Megawatt just slowly and approaching Yoshi just allows him to quickly get out of the way. Yoshi gonna try to throw out a rush of his own. Does get 55 off of the rush, but is still only holding on to a slight lead here. A quick stun grab combo off the Megawatt or a couple of Manders can definitely give Christy an advantage. Tries to go for the MP but gets caught out by Bark. And because of Bark, Christy is in a disadvantaged state. One more Mander is just going to help keep Yoshi ahead, and that's going to be a timeout. Yoshi taking the first round. Christy gonna change up one more time, trying to find a way around this, just not feeling like he's having any luck with his loadout. Yoshi just found a solid tool set to play against Christy's playstyle, and it's been rewarding him pretty handsomely. That Megawatt just ruling out his two arms as it boxes with the Megawatt, and then the Tri-Blast just doesn't compete with it at all. And then the Mander just constantly just reaching in from beyond the corners and allowing Yoshi to get some really strong punishes. Christy trying to go in for an EMP is caught out by the Megawatt. Throws out that rush. It's going to connect only for 170, but still, a 170 that can help out. Christy's starting to find some momentum, some tempo, and is going to get a solid health lead here. Just looking for a little bit more damage and brings the score to 1-1. Yoshi gonna bring out the final slap. Looking to unleash a flurry of slapping action to take Christy down in this final round. That Megawatt just not working out for him anymore, as Christy was focused on just deflecting and weaving around it and got some really strong opportunities. Yoshi just throwing out a flurry of slaps, trying to reach in to get Christy, and is going to be able to connect with 180 from the rush. Puts himself in a slight health lead. Christy is still ready with a rush of his own and is likely looking for just an opportunity to step in and start bringing things into his favor. But those slaps are slapping in hard. The hottest of slaps, just reaching in and constantly catching Christy as he tries to make these jumps, these dodges to evade him, and just constantly getting knocked right out of his EMP. Yoshi, once again, ready with rush. Gonna get caught out by that rush and takes the full brunt of it for 285. That is going to be a rush, and it's not going to connect, not even going to be a shield breaker, and allows Christy to stay in this match. Yoshi trying to patiently find his way in, but the Tri-Blast just creating a very difficult obstacle to work around, as it's constantly poking him down, whittling his health, Yoshi goes into the air, utilizing Bark's high jump for one clean opening and a KO on Mr. Christie. Alright, heading into our next match, we are going to have... let's have Shetty and Yam. No, I want Stan Luna. And Aloria. Yoshi Bowser will be heading on next to face off against Rifa, with Mr. Christie sitting back in the lower pools waiting for his next opponent. Mysterious Stan Luna appears. Ready to face off against Aloria. Just that. And we just switch this over to bam. Look at this beautiful Stan. A classic blast from the past, Ribbon Girl. Is very interesting. Can't wait to see some epic plays from Stan Luna, the magical player of playing magically with magic. I'm gonna need to use the washroom already. I've drank way too much tea. I'm gonna leave Stan. Yes, Stan. Stanley, you know, like this, the one who walked into the broom closet. That's Stan. Alright, all set and ready to go. Stan Luna going in with Ribbon Girl. Aloria going in with Mechanica, already trying to favor the commentator. Trying to get me to cheer on Aloria and not be a neutral stance, because I totally don't have a bias towards Mechanica in any way whatsoever, for any reason whatsoever. Starting off this match, both players trading back and forth, trying to find some good reads, start getting that pressure going. And so far, Stan Luna holding on to a slight advantage with a couple of solid a quick roaster, mander, and grab hits. Also quickly building up rush, is now ready to unleash it, just has to get close enough. And utilizing the grab pressure and rush presence allows Stan to get a nice 150 damage. Aloria throws out that rush, quickly slapping Stan out of the air, but still at a health disadvantage, and is going to get caught out by the rush. The Mander just reaching in at the last moment. And one final roaster is going to give the first round to Stan Luna. Aloria swapping over to the Fire Dragon in response to this. Stan sticking with the Mander, roasty toasty, mostly roasting loadout. And is going to hold onto a very slight advantage once again, just weaving around those dragons. Ribbon Girl does have a strong advantage against Dragon, where generally she has so many options around them that it's exceptionally difficult to catch a Ribbon Girl with the Dragon. Once you learn a Ribbon Girl's movement and you get start getting some good reads, the dragon all of a sudden starts becoming a lot more powerful, but it takes a lot of practice, and you really have to understand your opponent for that to happen. First round going to Stan Luna. I mean, I guess I could use my other commentator voice, because this is April Fool's Day, and I could be like, man, leave or whatever for a minute. I'm not sure if I'm in the mood. We'll see if I feel like it later. Because I was at work yesterday. I was just talking about how I used to... about my different older voice, the one that I don't really use anymore. And how there was a point where I was fine enough with it, but nobody was used to me using it anymore because I never used it at all. So I just, during a closing announcement, rather than using my "hello, we're closing, please come to the till," I went in with the deeper voice, and it actually scared some of the employees. They're like, what's going on? It was really funny. It wasn't even on April Fool's Day. Heading into this next match, we are going to be in Sparring Ring. Aloria going in with Nibbles and the Parasol. That Scorpion is a very sly one. Actually has a pretty high jump to it on the ground. Ribbon Girl usually is capable of staying above it, but there's a couple of cases where if you set it up well, it can reach her in the air. Just like that. Scorpion is also an exceptional arm for having a nice curve ability while in the air, which can allow you to get a little bit better angles off of it and catch an opponent off guard. The Parasol doing a pretty solid tool as well, allowing you to just wall out a lot of straightforward approaches and pressure. But there is still a solid opening just right where the Scorpion is, where Aloria is not able to get a confirm off of that, but or a block off of the Parasol, but does get a confirm, knocking Stan out of the air, and is now just one hit away from KOing, and it's going to be the Parasol. Aloria, on the brink of death, is able to land the KO. That was an exceptional confirm. Starting off this next round, both players holding even. Stan Luna going to be the one with rush advantage. Is going to take advantage of that to scare Aloria into a shield state. Ends up losing the rush as the Parasol swings right into their face. And allows Aloria to keep this pressure up. The Scorpion, Nibbles, just doing an exceptional job of catching Stan time and time again, but is not going to be able to reach in time for that rush as the breezy slaps blows Aloria away, canceling it out. Stan holding on to a light lead here. Struggling to find a way around that Parasol, just effectively blocking them out. Likely trying to bait that rush out, and Aloria is going to be successful in that pressuring. Still, might potentially get KO'd here, but does have an opening if they can just start getting a little bit of momentum going. Aloria can very likely bring this back, as Stan only has about 255 health left. Aloria playing very patiently, playing very safe, trying to find a way in. And Stan going in with the very greedy evasive punish play is going to get hard punished for it, allowing the score to shift to 1-1. Stan maybe a little greedy there, ends up getting punished out. A popular thing for a lot of ribbon girls to do, because you're usually if an opponent throws out rush while you're just kind of dancing and dodging, a lot of players are very confident in the fact that they'll just be able to dodge everything else from then on. So they're like, oh, I'll just keep dodging, and then I'll throw out a punish, and I'll just win. But if a player like Aloria is used to Ribbon Girl, and most EU players are, they will recognize, oh, I missed. I'm going to fix my camera, and then I'm going to swing at you again. And Nibbles is a very effective tool at catching a lot of players as they're kind of dashing around. Especially in Rush, it moves exceptionally fast. And that's going to allow Aloria to take that first round. Heading into the third round of this match, Stan going to go in to chooses to go to DNA Lab and equips the Hydra to counter a lot of Aloria's vertical movement. Aloria sticking with the Parasol, it's a solid tool for countering Hydras. There's a lot of cases where the Hydra just won't be able to get in through it. And the Scorpid as well, it does cover a lot of height. The Scorpid's tail just covering a lot of ground. And it does allow Aloria to actually be pretty defensive against the Hydra. The scariest thing Stan might actually have still is the Roaster, but 2 medium weight arms versus 1 does give Aloria a strong advantage. A nice read is going to be able to give Stan a solid grab, breaking that pillar, and is now just barely by hairs in a health lead. Quick 1-2 allows Aloria to push Stan back. Both players just trying to find a way in with the rush. And Aloria going to be able to slip right out of the way of it. Just that Roaster slowly trying to find its way in and not successful in any way. Stan tries to dodge once more and ends up getting punished out as the Scorpion just reaches right into that path and puts Stan in critical condition, forcing Stan to have to advance. Aloria able to wall them out with the Parasol and takes the advantage point. Aloria now looking for just one more round to be able to move on in the brackets against Stan Luna. Stan going back to the Mander Roaster here to try to work around these 2 arms and the pressure that Aloria is applying. Starting off this round, Stan holding on to a slight advantage, going to be able to block that rush or that attack with the rush, but ends up whiffing as that pillar safely blocks Aloria. I need to get better at Aloria ready with rush does have a solid health deficit though, and is likely going to want to hold on to it for this next round to have a potential rush advantage, or to potentially bring things back if they're able to start finding that momentum. Dives right in, Stan choosing to shield this time, and is going to be able to move out of that rush basically unscathed, and now with a massive health and rush lead. Aloria likely wanting to try to just build up as much rush as possible is not going to have that chance, as Stan gets one more Mander to reach in and brings his score to 1-1. Aloria responds to this predicament, putting the Parasol and the Scorpion away, and brings out the double guns, the double nade blaster. Double gloves is actually not necessarily too effective against Ribbon Girl in a lot of cases, as Ribbon Girl does have a lot of strong movement. Aloria or Stan actually canceling out what I'm pretty sure was a confirmed grab throughout the rush, expecting Aloria to have broken through it, and now in a much worse position because Aloria is just going to safely be able to block through it. Aloria trying to go in for some pressure, some grab setups. They're not going to work out. Ends up getting the rush canceled out as Aloria mistimes that rush and gets caught by the Mander. I guess a solid eye for an eye in that case. Stan now with rush advantage is trying to close in the distance, but shield advancing, perfect shields against nades are relatively risky, and as we saw, Stan does get caught out and thrown onto the floor. Both players now vulnerable to a KO off of rush. Aloria quickly building one up. Stan just looking for a little bit more damage to get a KO even beyond the rush. And Aloria now ready with a rush of their own. Stan trying to play a safe game here, but he's going to get caught out. Aloria not going to be able to capitalize on that rush. Does find a window though in the last few seconds, and Stan unable to do anything beyond acknowledge defeat and dance. Gives Aloria the final point and allows Aloria to move on in the brackets. I'm gonna go to the washroom, and I'll let the next players know who's gonna be playing. Looks like we can just get Aloria versus Stan. Okay. Alright, so our next match is going to be Rifa versus Aloria. I'm gonna go to the washroom while they're doing their stage capture picks. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. That was actually pretty close. Like, I could have seen it going either way. Unfortunately, things just didn't work out for Stan. Aloria did take it and is going to be moving on to face off against the Lord of the Scrapstar Series, Rifa. Rifa rules over these lands with a varied fist. You never quite know exactly how Rifa is going to go in. Why is Rifa -1? Why is Aloria? There we go. Scores right now. Aloria going to continue to fight with that Mechanica, representing some mech love. Something not too actually, Mechanica's pretty uncommon in the EU community. Realistically, Mechanica's not Mechanica's like semi-common in NA. But mostly because of players like me, even though I barely do anything right now. I'm only prominent in the scene because I literally stream and talk to everybody a lot. And then there's a couple, like, kookies that are still around. Goof obviously being the most prominent Mechanica in NA. And then, yeah, there's a couple of Mechanicas beyond that. But yeah, I don't see too many Mechanicas in the EU side. Correction on that, I believe, like, Disarmser played Mechanica for a bit. Aloria plays Mechanica a bit. Rifa definitely plays Mechanica a bit. I'm not sure if there's any Mechanica mains, though. Rifa holding on to Rifa just at a very slight loss right now, but is going to be able to throw himself into a pretty sizable lead as he lands 405 damage off that rush and safely walks away. Just utilizing the pressure of the lockjaw to nullify that rush in its entire existence. A couple more hits, a quick chain, and Rifa is going to take the first round. Something I need to work on with commentary is, well, beyond the obvious, all the other things that are going on, I'd also I need to work more on like terminology, because there's a lot of words that I'll just use inappropriately. Like, I'm pretty sure people understand what I mean when I say whatever I say. But it's like, yeah, I could probably have the more specific words. You just figured it out? Nice. I know there's other players in the EU community that main Mechanica. I more mean specifically active players that are playing ARMS actively and aren't on like a break or who have stepped away from ARMS because of various reasons. Starting off this match, both players going about even. Rifa utilizing Masango's pressure, his scary mask powers, to get himself in a strong position, and sees a very nice opportunity for a 370 damage grab. Is just looking for a little bit more damage to get a confirm. Even a straight hit from the Phoenix is going to be enough. And Rifa now takes the lead. Just looking for one more win to be able to move on to the winners finals. Gloria trying to fight back, is going to throw out a pretty strong rush, but Rifa gonna safely block it out and continues to stay in a very, very scary position. A little bit locked into that hot pocket, but he's just able to utilize each and every little window of opportunity to create these small chances to dive right out, get these nice punishes, and is now so much more open out and free to move around and to get that pressure going. Aloria doing a solid job of just trying to keep Rifa in corners, but he's just, even in this corner, he still has so much room to move around in, and it's really hurting Aloria, just preventing them from getting a lot of the pressure that they want. And cancels out the rush with one more strike. Rifa moving on to the winners finals. I love the fact that in the ARMS I love the fact that there's a lot of top players in the ARMS community. Even about their own characters that are like, they're watching someone else play and they're like, oh gods, I didn't know you could do that, or hey, did you know this could happen? And then someone's like, I'm an incredibly proficient player of this character. No, I didn't. That's never even come to my mind that you could do something like levitate on springboards. Alright, let's see what's going on here. Excellent, they just finished up. Which means that our next match is going to be Grimwood vs. Shetty. For our second semi-finals ARMS match. Alright, so we got the code, we let them know. Hopefully they'll join in soon. Did you know you could play Coil without third arm spam? Did you know you could... Astro, hang on, I've got to show you this trick. It's so cool. Did you know that when you play Dr. Coil, and if you shield, you turn blue, you get a new color. Look, it's a hidden Coil color. It's blue, translucent blue. She's so cool now. I just want to play with this color. New tag! This is the magicest of techs. Whomst ever thought. Also, let's see, what are other techs that are available? But on the note of something like that, there's actually a few abilities of characters that, like, there's a few things about certain characters that just aren't really utilized. Sometimes more in the EU than NA, sometimes just not at all. But there's a couple of things that, I mean, it's understandable. It happens in Smash Bros. And a lot of other fighting games where there's just moves that aren't necessarily consistently reliable and useful. But it's cool to be able to see players find a way to make them work, to do some cool things, and to come up with some new ideas. It's one of the cool things about ARMS is just all of the interactions. All the interesting things that are still going on that people can potentially still learn to utilize. Like, another one, Kid Cobra has a really nice forward slide. Like, his dash is really nice. But you don't see that too often beyond players like Gold Stare. Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah, there's a little bit of height difference. Like, if you hold jump, like, if she's just here, it kind of goes like this. It slows down her bounce, so you can just kind of wait things out a little bit more. I know that one wasn't very well known for the longest while, as one of the other various little additions called Bounce Cancel. I've probably seen it at this point. But it might be a good idea to remind me because I might not remember. I don't know. There, we just gotta... let's head over to Yempo rounds, as that's going to be our first match. It's crazy how many ribbon girls are in the EU community. Why is her hair white? Oh, that was just the lighting. That was just the lighting, guys. That's actually really cool. Guys, can we have... I really like white hair. Silver white hair is really nice. I find it to be very pretty. Ribbon girls getting old. Starting our next match in the tournament, Shetty going to be going in with a default Sprintman loadout on Ribbon Girl, and Grimwood going in with the Maid Trivolt on Max Brass. Starting off this match, Grim holding on to a slight advantage, does have a dominant rush as well, and is going to try to use it right here, and it successfully connects for 220 damage. Misses out on that finishing touch, which potentially could mean that he didn't KO Shetty as fast as he could have otherwise. Does get one more charged Tribolt though, and takes the first round. Grimwood capitalizing on that grab deflect. responds with a grab of his own and starts off with a 170 health lead. Shetty moving over to double toasters. Gonna focus on a little bit more of a patient play, just walling out a lot of Grim's attacks. Trying to bring this back with a classic double glove strategy. Starting 30 seconds into the match, both players going to go for a rush off Grim in a much higher position. Has a strong advantage and is going to be able to best Shetty, and now has a moderate health lead. Grim just trying to play patiently, trying to play safe, trying to make sure that he doesn't get caught out by anything, just so he can potentially time Shetty down and get a couple more punishes to take Shetty down. Gonna get caught out by that toaster, and Shetty gonna try to take advantage of that newfound momentum. Starts getting a couple of quick hits in there, responds with a well-aimed grab. Catches Grim with a second one. Grim thinking that he had gotten out of the way. Going to safely block that rush, but is now at critical health. Shetty also very low on health with 10 seconds left on the clock. It's going to be one more toaster as Grim tries to scare Shetty. That intimidation does not work on this songstress though, and allows Shetty to take a round for themselves. This next round starting off, Grim going to land in a 190 off of the nade rush alone, as the Thunderbird just does not find its way in. And allows Shetty to hold on to a slight lead. Shetty just trying to apply some safe pressure, applying a lot of boxing and just throwing out of attacks. And is causing Grim to catch himself with his nade a handful of times. Both players now charged up once more with rush. Just looking for an opportunity to get in there and get some damage. Get stunned and going to be able to block that nade. Shetty just at a pretty sizable health deficit right now. Needs to find some momentum and opportunity to bring this back. Ends up getting the rush cancelled out by the Thunderbird. Now it looks very likely that this is going to be Grim's as he gets a double stun into rush. And takes the first game. Shetty had some pretty strong plays, but Grim was just capable of keeping that pressure up. Got a handful of good reads, recognizing a lot of Shetty's movement, and just capitalized on them enough to be able to take a couple of pretty strong rounds. A lot of those rushes were very much in Grimwood's favor as well, with some very effective just setups and punishes and reads. I'm wondering what Shetty will likely want to do to respond to that. I could potentially see... I can't remember. I think Shetty has a twin tail? Yeah, Shetty has a twin tail. I think twin tail would probably be a pretty good pick. Ribbon Girl is also a pretty solid pick. But Ribbon Girl is just such a tricky character to really feel out and be able to utilize well in so many of these matchups. That said, once you've got that momentum, once you understand what you're doing with Ribbon Girl, there's a lot of matches that just stop. A lot of the matchup results just kind of flip around, and all of a sudden, where Ribbon Girl might have been disadvantaged, now all of a sudden she's very advantaged because you just can't catch her. So it looks like we are set up and we are going to be going to DNA Lab for our next match. Just let... blah. Oh, here we go. All we needed was for me to awkwardly cough and be confused as to what we were waiting on. We are set, though. Shetty gonna step in with Twintel. Grim sticking with the brass. Sticking with that beefy boy. Shetty gonna start off utilizing the Toaster Chakram loadout to cover some ground and have a couple of nice boxing options. The Starstruck allows Shetty to also contend with that deflect, the brass build, and just give Shetty a lot more time to respond and capitalize on a lot of Grim's mistakes. Grim gonna be the one on top of things though, and pressures Shetty with a strong grab, and is now just throwing out a wall of nades, blasting Shetty down. Shetty goes in for a quick grab, but is going to get caught out by a rush. Shetty now in the red with Grim in a very advantaged position. One more nade going to be able to connect, and Grim takes the first round dominantly. Heading into this next round, Grim going to try to utilize the Hydra Thunderbird, and Shetty brings out the double toasters once more, just looking to try to punch everything Grim has down. That rush not going to be able to connect. Grim safely hiding behind that pillar, just utilizing its defensive natures to keep him strong and healthy. Tries to go in for a grab, but Shetty just on top of things at that moment, recognizes it coming out, and is going to safely block this rush as just a stray bullet from the Hydra is going to connect. Not enough to start launching Shetty into any combos. Caught once more by a deflect grab. You have to be really careful against brass or a lot of deflect users, because if you throw out a grab, there's a lot of cases where if they're not ready for it, they will just be blinded by it and they will get caught. But if they're ready for it to any degree, they'll just deflect your grab and they get a free grab as a punish. And against brass, that's especially scary, as he just throws out the grab, you get grabbed, and now he's in an extremely advantaged state. Shetty trying to play this patiently, recognizing that they had a strong health advantage, still have one, and there's only 15 seconds left on the clock, so Grim really has to make some strong reads here. 3 seconds left on the clock. Has to go for that one last grab, and it's going to be enough as Shetty just chooses to wait things out and allows Grim to take the match 2-0. It's kind of fun to be able to commentate on your own, because like you gotta just kind of ramble and talk. I like the voices sounds of other people, but it's also, I'm so used to just rambling on my own that it's also like kind of satisfying, and it just gets a lot of air out of me. There's so much free reign, nobody to interrupt me, nobody to have to talk to. I just ramble and scream on my own. Just make Waluigi noises or whatever. Let's do it. Bam. Alright. Everything's all set up. We are going to be heading to Spine Ring for our first match. Wah! In the winners finals. I want to do another gender shift. I like the gender shift command. I like my quotes. I like my silly things. They're very fun. Like, look how entertaining and delightful they be. What is that quote? Well then, I see. Starting off the winner's finals match. Rifa going to dive straight in with Ninjara. Not even gonna give Grim an opportunity to breathe with any dilly-dally. Grim going to go all in with a Springman Chilla Roaster loadout. Grim landing a couple of blows, doing some nice trades, but Rifa slowly getting the advantage out of these trades. And has a rush ready to throw out. Just throwing out peppering the field with these wide shots. These just charged, uncharged. A lot of pressure and just damage. Rifa waiting things out. Grim trying to find an opportunity to throw out his rush. Is just looking for some pressure or something of the sorts. But Rifa just really not giving him much of anything to work with. Grim finds an opportunity to go in for the rush. Connects for 295. But ends up getting caught out by the Rifa's rush in response. And now is one hit away from getting KO'd. And it's going to be a stray Tri-Blast reaching right in. Giving Rifa the first round. Starting off the second round, Grim immediately starts the pressure, disarms that dragon, and goes in for a grab. Quickly builds up a lot of rush in the process as well, and is likely trying to set up just to go for a very rush, boxer-heavy playstyle in this round. Ends up getting sniped down by the Tri-Blast though, unable to deflect all of those shots. Rifa now starting to bring things back, finding some tempo, some momentum, and is going to deflect both of those shots. Lands a 370 damage rush, and is now in a much more dominant position, quickly turning the tides in his favor. One final shot is going to be able to reach in, and Rifa takes the first round. Just continuing to showcase how scary his Ninjara are. Man's Cup out, and it looks like we will be heading straight back into the Spring Ring. The Spring Ring of Sparring Ring. Catching up on some of the lower ends of the brackets, it looks like Yam took Christy down 2-0 and is facing off against Okrim, with Stan Luna 2-0ing Yoshi Bowser and will be facing off against Shetty. Heading into this next round, Grimwood going in with the Popper Clapback Cobra, just looking to utilize Kid Cobra's massive girth and that shield to wall Rifa out. Starting things off, Grimwood holding onto a slight advantage, continuing to just catch Rifa off with all of these light pokes, these uncharged little stabs with the Popper. Popper is genuinely very I keep saying this, but like Popper, whenever I see the Popper, it's such a scary thing. It comes out quickly, it covers a lot of ground, and just does damage. I mean, technically Astro just came out before Pine. It was the players of Japan who utilized it first. A quick chain of knockdowns is going to allow Rifa to set himself up for a potential KO, but it's going to be the Popper reaching in first. Grim taking the first round. Rifa swapping that Ice Dragon away is going to attempt to utilize the Slamamander to curve around that clapback. Rifa tries to go in for the punish. It's not going to be able to connect though, as Grim just safely dances away from it and holds on to a slight health lead. Grim gonna get sniped down by the Tri-Blast there. Does still hold a pretty solid advantage, and now has Rush ready as well. Just looking to try to time things out, play this game very slowly, as he's just got a very advantage state, and he's going to dive right in for that rush. It's going to be a solid KO and brings the score to 1-1. Rip arms. Did he just say rip arms? I know he said something else, but it genuinely sounded like Kid Cobra just said rip arms. Even Kid Cobra's getting in on the arms is dead meme. Oh god, this is terrible. This is so sad. Alexa, play Skyrim. Cobras. He probably said Cobras, and I just heard rip arms. Heading to Buster Beach. Grim gonna switch back to Springman here. Rifa gonna stick with Ninjaro. Starting things off, Rifa going to be the first one to strike. Going back to the Ice Dragon Tri-Blast. Just a very proficient loadout for pressuring and power. A lot of his strong plays and just zoning an opponent out, especially in a stage like Buster Beach. It has a lot of room for him. And while the Hot Pocket can be scary for a lot of characters, it can also be kind of nice for Ninjara. Once again, Grimwood going in, trying to build up a lot of rush here. He's just playing a very rush-centric play, just throwing out a lot of hits as soon as he's got rush ready, trying to go in to start pressure. Try to get it to connect, but Rifa just gonna dive right out of the way, denies him of any opportunity. Does successfully get a grab off of that. Rifa trying to deflect it, but just was not able to make it work. Grim trying to just play this patiently, trying to just wall Rifa out, just throwing out a lot of arms, generally wanting to focus on just knocking Rifa down and getting rush built up as quick as possible. Rifa though going to build up a rush of his own, and is just looking for any solid confirm, any solid opportunity to get in there to take Grimwood down. With the timer ticking, there's very little time for Grimwood to be able to get this. He needs to find a window to connect, and he's not going to be able to find that opportunity as Rifa times him out with probably about a 15% health lead. 20%. Heading into this next round, both players ready with rush. Rifa quickly going into the Hot Pocket and is going to be subject to a 285 damage rush. Grimwood missing out on another finishing touch, potentially missing out on a decent amount of damage there. Does take a lot of shield shift damage as Rifa throws out his rush, but does not get disarmed until shortly afterwards from a stray dragon shot. Grim getting sniped down once more, and Rifa now holding onto a mild health lead and has rush ready to punish Grimwood and any of his attempts that he might throw out. Rifa starting to close in the distance, just trying to utilize the pressure that Rush possesses. But as soon as Grimwood has a rush of his own ready, Rifa backs off, tries to give him a little bit more space. Going to get caught out by that rush. Ends up missing out on the finishing touch yet again. Rifa would definitely be in the red if he had connected either of those. There's actually a very good chance he might lose out on this round because he didn't land those finishing touches. Does get the punish though. Rifa would definitely be KO'd right now. Grimwood trying to play this patiently. finds one more roaster hit in there and does manage to find the round. Missing those finishing touches did put him in a hairy place though. But fortunately, he was able to find a way to make it work. And took a round for himself. Now in a rush advantage state. Gonna try to take advantage of that, but is gonna get caught twice. A third time by a charged roaster as he leaps and lands into it. A fourth time! Really feeling that pressure as he leaps again. Constantly just getting caught out as he leaps time and time again. Finally chooses to use the rush, but it's only gonna get cancelled out another time. Grimwood leaning very hard into those jumps and just constantly getting punished out, and now is in a very, very bad position because of that. Just one or two more hits from Rifa will be enough to take Grimwood down. And that final hit is all he needs off of a straight Tri-Blast. Grimwood having to bring a full 75% of Rifa's health down. Tries to scare him with a grab, but it's not going to work. Rifa, just confident in his position, is able to safely take Grim down. Casual Rifa. Rifa himself is the most ambitious crossover. Nothing competes with how ambitious the crossover that Rifa is in everything. Rifa is hot. Kid Cobra is hot, Rifa is hot. Hot slaps are hot. Arms is hot. Going into this next round, Grimwood going back to Kid Cobra is looking to utilize the pillars and this large stage to give himself a little bit more room and allow for some potential pressuring technique, some pretty solid pressuring techniques potentially to try to take Rifa down. Quickly dives in, just utilizing the narrow hallways to make sure that Rifa has as little room as possible to breathe. Grimwood starting off with a light advantage, catching Rifa time and time again with a couple of charged poppers, uncharged poppers, just a lot of stray shots and bullet fire. Rifa finally finding his first strike in. And Grimwood going to get caught out by the rush, taking 370 damage, just not ready for that to come out. And allows Rifa to put himself in a much more advantaged position health-wise. Gonna get caught out by that popper, but does get a trade with his Ice Dragon, allowing him to hold onto a light lead. Couple of quick hits are going to be enough for Grim, but the staircase going to take away his rush as Rifa safely lands on the ground quickly. Rifa, very low on health, is subject to being KO'd off of a charged popper, couple of uncharged hits. That will likely be enough, but Rifa going to continue to dodge out of the way of these attacks and is still in this. Grimwood, very low on health, is going to try to dodge out of the way, goes in for the punish, almost gets knocked down as a result, but is able to find his way out. And Grimwood takes the round. Starting off this next round, Grimwood going to quickly build up a rush, trying to get a win confirmed, any setup to potentially just start off with a massive health lead. Rifa continuing to dodge his way around these attacks, gonna get caught by that popper and clapback rush, and takes a decent amount of damage. That pillar saving Grimwood from what could have been a very painful setup. Rifa focuses on a turret-style flurry, but it just doesn't connect, and then utilizes the rest of it to just try to wall out any of Grimwood's approach. Grimwood gets disarmed, allows Rifa to get a knockdown, and Rifa quickly building up another rush. Grimwood just a little bit a ways away from getting another rush of his own. With 30 seconds left on the clock, it's likely going to be a rush to determine how this ends, with both so close to being KO'd. Grimwood gets another uncharged strike in there and is now just looking for one confirm. Rifa gets the read though, dodges right out of the rush, and is now just looking for this confirm, and he connects, bringing the score to 1-1. Final round begins immediately as both dive straight back into the ring, neither ready with a rush now. Grim going to be the first one to strike once more with that uncharged popper, just covering so much ground with Kid Cobra's high girth rate, the high speed of the popper, and just the coverage it's capable of creating. Just makes it a very dangerous tool, especially when coupled up with the clapback. A very strong sword and shield approach. Grimwood holding on to a slight lead here, but is just a couple of quick hits can easily put Rifa in an advantage state. Both just throwing arms back and forth. Just trading blows, trying to find an advantage amidst this flurry of attacks. Rifa closing in the distance, is going to get caught out by the rush for 65, but is able to evade out of it with the Ninjara shield. Gets a punish, but gets caught by a grab. Grimwood still holding onto a light lead. Rifa now ready with a rush though, is just looking for an opportunity to get in there. But Grimwood very close to KOing Rifa. Catches Grimwood with another charged Tri-Blast. Gets a disarm, gets the knockdown, and with only a few seconds left on the clock, Grimwood chooses to try to evade and ends up closing out the match. Rifa taking Grimwood down 3-1 in some very intense matches in DNA Lab, or as I like to call it, Dan's Lab. Dan's Slab. Slab of Dan. It's a delicious slab of Dan we got right here. I am commentating the fights of other people. I'm the tournament host of this event. And, see, this is me, right here. I'm commentating and running the event with the assistance of the fabulous and wonderful Rifa of the EU community. Looking down on the bracket results as they currently stand, it looks like Aloria is facing off against Okrim as it currently stands. Shetty in the lower semifinals will be likely looking to face off against Aloria or Okrim. How do you join? Unfortunately, you cannot join this one. DRVN, what region do you live in? Are you EU, NA, or South America by any chance? Because if you live in North America, I have some very good news for you. Let's see, how's the bracket going? You live in the US? Would you by any chance be free in about 3.5 hours? Because if you're interested, there's a North American bracket coming up pretty soon. At 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the NA brackets for the Scrapstar Series will be commencing. You are more than welcome to join and participate in our lovely little event. I'd always love to see a new face there, and even if you're not able to compete, you are welcome to drop by, just hang out, watch the stream, chat up with us. you don't know how to join, there should be instructions on the challenge site. If you click that link, there should be a few links for things like rules, the Discord, where it'll be streamed. Hint, this is where it'll be streamed. And yeah, it should be able to be more than enough to help you get going. I am also here. I'm the tournament organizer, the event organizer. I'm the streamer for this event, and the commentator. I pretty much run the show for the Scrapstar Series. I'm the head honcho. If you've got any questions, ask any of my mods, or ask me myself, and I would be more than happy to assist you. Yes, I did bow. Shut it. It felt nice to bow at that moment. I like bowing. Bowing is cool. And curtsies. Sometimes. Let's see. So yeah, we're still... They're still in the middle of their match, so... I'm gonna use the washroom, and I'm gonna see if Shetty wants to join in and do a quick sparring session with me. Okay, I'll be right back. I've drank too much tea. Okay, I'm back. What is my rank? My rank is... The best rank I've had is a full cap 20. At the current point, due to a lot of experimentation and just mental health, I've dipped down to just being a rank 20. But I've played a decent amount of ARMS. I am probably well known. JK, that was Evo Japan, not Evo. It's different events. Completely different. And yeah, I'm generally a well-known offline player. I've competed at ARMS and generally placed top 8 in most offline ARMS events. You're only ranked 12? That's pretty solid. That's a good placement. You should be proud of that. It's a nice spot to be. It's not the best of places, but it's not easy to really climb ranks too often. Oh, that was a bad play. Still insanely impressive. Yeah, he is very impressive. Did you miss anything important? Not really. I mean, I guess, yes? Depends on what you consider important. I'm a Mechanica main. I like Mechanica. I play Mechanica. And she is the character that I primarily play. I would recommend you just look up the matches yourself. Like, my seeding is alright, but I wouldn't be the best at telling you what a bracket reset would be still. I mean, I'm always upset, if that's what you mean. I'm just an upset person. So upset. Especially when people use double gloves on me. It's so mean. Yeah, I know. I would recommend looking at the brackets and seeing for yourself. Alright, and with everything set up, we are good to go. Aloria will be facing off against Shetty. Looking here. Mr. Christie almost took Yoshi Bowser down. That was really impressive. Aloria beat San Luna 2-1. Oh, I've got Shetty as 3rd seed. Nice. Cheering on. Get some cheers for Shetty. Also for Aloria, because they're both beautiful people. I actually like a lot of the EU community. For the most part, I have very few issues with them. There's so many wonderful and cool people here. I love Rifa. I like seeing all the cool, different, unique playstyles. Like, I love that Ribbon Girl is popular here. I kind of want to move. You know what'd be cool? If I visited EU for a while, and then I was like, then I could participate in some of the events. It would be fun. Aw, Shetty, please, please. Alright, so yeah, heading into our next match. This tourney clearly needs some mangoes. Dude! More Masangos are always welcome here. Every character is welcome here. I'm actually excited. Mr. Christie's a Springtron main. I would love to see more Springtron. Mr. Christie, actually, if you're listening to this, and you're looking for feedback on what you can do differently with Springtron, let me know. I've been helping out another Springtron main, Gillyboat, and he's starting to do. He was doing some pretty good things on his own, but he's got a couple of new tricks up his sleeve, and he's making a scene for himself. Pento may organize an EU local here. Yes, I'll do exactly then for that. If I actually ever have the money to do something like that, I would so do that. I would be so down for that. Oh, eyes are on Penzo. Heading into this next match, I'm actually kind of excited. I'm still very excited to see Aloria repping Mechanica here. This makes me very excited. I'm very excited, if you might not notice by the fact that I've said excited 3 times now. that I'm excited at the fact that Aloria is playing Mechanica still. And has Nibbles, the Scorpid. Starting off this match, Shetty going in with Twin Tail has the Chakram Toaster. I could see that being pretty effective. Ram Ram might be a little bit safer overall, as it would have that knockdown then. But Chakram definitely works just as fine. And Shetty might have been anticipating a Min-Min of sorts. Heading into this, Aloria going in with the clapback Scorpid loadout here. Aloria's been doing some good work with Mechanica. I really gotta say, like, holding up pretty well. So far though, Shetty just doing a very solid job with pressure, getting a nice rush in there, and is just looking for one more hit of anything should take Aloria down, and Shetty trademarking that first KO. There are actually things that keep track of how many times you use that emote. Fun fact. Aloria gonna start off with Rush, but ends up getting cancelled out by a toaster to the face. Aloria going to go in for a lot more straightforward approach with a tribal toaster, but that's only going to allow Aloria to have a very safe opportunity to just go in there, start some strong pressure, and get a nice grab. Aloria trying to capitalize on that hover to just keep a strong, consistent state of armor and movement. But Shetty's just finding windows in that attempt, that pressure, to get some nice damage in, and has evened out the health pools. Shetty, just by hairs, is in the lead, is going to find another charged toaster, and catches Aloria as they are on the ground and unarmored, allowing the full 120 damage to connect, and gives Shetty the KO. Yeah, Christy, send me a DM later, and I'll send you a little bit of a message about some things. Actually, I do love Sprintron. I should make a video guide on Sprintron, because I seem to know a lot about Sprintron in general. Like, I use it so often. Or, I don't play Sprintron very often, but I know a couple of tricks. Yeah. And if you want, I can always try to plan a sparring session with you, Christy. Sometimes it'll take a really long time for us to actually have the session happen. But I can always set down time if anybody is ever interested or in need. And it looks like our next match is going to be on the Scrapyard. Sprintron is a great character. I think all the characters are great. They're all really cool. I love them all. And it looks like Shetty's going to give Ribbon Girl a little bit more love here as they switch over to face off against Aloria in the in the Scrapyard as Ribbon Girl. Aloria making a change over to Min Min. Another, maybe not as delightful of a character as Mechanica is for me, but still a very delightful and effective character. Definitely high up on my characters that I think are cool. Starting off, Shetty going in with the revolver here. The revolver, a pretty tricky arm, but is really good at just spread fire, covering a lot of ground. It's really good at doing arm chip damage if you can just line it up just right. Shetty trying to find an opportunity to confirm a setup for that rush. The revolver also exceptionally difficult to land a rush with. But if you get it to connect, it hits like a brick. Not as hard as the homie, but it still hits hard. That rush is going to miss. Shetty left very vulnerable as that flurry comes out, but Luria not able to find an opportunity to go in for the punish, and allows Shetty to remain relatively unscathed. I think Nihilus is just trying to upset people. Intellectual advice, yes. Gloria finds an opportunity to get that Dragon Arm charged up again. Now with only a few seconds left on rush, or on clock, has to go for the rush. It's going to connect, but Gloria blows himself up with the homie on the second throw and ends up losing the round. Oh, the humanity! Oh no! Oh! And here we see, my friends, the danger of the homie. If you are not careful with that thing, if it gets stuck on a wall and you are too close to it, you will blow yourself up. Oh, that was painful. Aluria did everything right except throughout that second homie while facing the wall, and it just... Shetty now in a dominant position, score-wise, and just needs one more win to be able to move on in the bracket and knock Aluria out of the tournament. Aluria switching the homie away for the parasol, likely a little upset over the fact that that just happened, and honestly, I do not blame them. Shetty going to safely find their way out of that rush, safely blocking it. Aluria's starting to find some really nice tempo though, getting a couple of well-aimed hits, just still playing relatively patiently, not letting that issue slow them down in any way whatsoever. Dodges right out of the rush. Does take a bit of shield chip damage, but nothing too serious. And is just looking for a little bit more to take Shetty down and bring the score to 1-1. Didn't want to use the rush there. Doesn't really have to worry about that. With 7 seconds left on the clock, Shetty really doesn't have too many options to work with. And Aluria going to bring the score to 1-1. We've got 2 clips of the exact... I love it when that happens. Everybody gets so excited. Aluria sticking with the Chakram Parasol and is going to be able to connect a 325 damage rush. Not going to be as heavy as the homie one, but on the bright side, it doesn't blow yourself up. Shetty goes in for the rush. It's just going to be a bunch of shield chip damage though, which allows Aluria to build up another rush relatively quickly, and should only be just a few moments before Aluria has it ready to just dish out some heavy, heavy damage. Shetty trying to dodge around, find a window between this pressure to get in, but the Chakram Parasol just proving to be too much. And now with a weakened shield, Aluria does have a potential shield breaker to go for, is not able to as they get the knockdown and follow up with another Chakram, bringing the score to 1-1. Even after the most unfortunate of mishaps, Aluria is able to bring it back and takes the game for themselves. A wonderful comeback there. Honestly, a pretty deserved comeback after that. Oh, gods. Oh yeah. That was banned. That's one of the scary things about Homie. It's really good, it's really powerful, it's really scary. And it's something I capitalize a lot on my opponents. When they have Homie and they throw out a rush. Like if I have a heavy arm out already, and I see them throw out rush, I immediately throw out the heavy arm, because I know even if they connect like the toaster or something, the heavy's gonna stop the Homie, and then the Homie blows up on them, and they lose out on the rush. That was so amazing. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of aggressive players in your community, Nihilus. Heading into this next match, Shetty going to stick with Ribbon Girl here. Aloria going to continue working with Min Min and has just straight up exercised Homie. Now ready with a whammer in tow. Aloria is ready to wall out Shetty. Starting off this round, Shetty going in with the tribal here can be very difficult to use against a Parasol. As the Parasol can just straight up, or especially a Dragon Arm Chakram as well, as both of those arms can be very capable of just walling out a tribal in any of its states. But as Shetty is playing Ribbon Girl, definitely can find a good opportunity or two just to kind of throw them out and get a couple of nice pot shots. Starting off 40 seconds into the match, both players barely have yet to be hit. Aloria playing relatively safely, just looking to not get too caught up in Shetty's movement, and just defensively walling out a lot of Shetty's attacks. Shetty just trying to find a way in amidst the barrage of attacks. The constant damage just coming in. Shetty recognizing that his shield break would have done pretty much the same amount of damage. Just tries to dodge out of the way, but ends up eating the full wrath of that rush. Shetty now in a very disadvantaged state as Aloria is quickly trying to build up a rush. And just looking for a little bit more damage to take Shetty down. Shetty, like, trying to bring something back, but will not have enough time to do much of anything and ends up getting KO'd after being suffocated by the Parasol Chakram. Both players sticking with their loadouts. Aloria going to continue utilizing those two giant walls to try to block Shetty out. Shetty throws out the rush just before Aloria has the opportunity to utilize theirs, but only leaves himself vulnerable to Aloria throwing out a rush in response. And with a slightly higher damage output, Aloria now in a health lead. Two quick hits quickly follow it up, and now Aloria in a very, very dominant position. Deflecting all of those shots takes some heavy arm damage, but Aloria capable of kicking all of the attacks that Shetty just threw out, preventing from what would have been very painful. Shetty trying to find their way in, ends up getting knocked down by the Chakram, that giant size, just making it really difficult for Shetty to find their way, to be able to throw anything out. Aloria throwing Chakram after Chakram, and Shetty just weaving through these like a dancing butterfly. Tries to go in, but gets punished by the aggression. And now Aloria just looking for a little bit more damage. 15 seconds left on the clock. Shetty does have a slight health advantage, but it will quickly be taken away by any hit from Aloria. Gets 2 more hits, and that is likely going to be it for Shetty. Aloria bringing it back in the most unfortunate of events, and ends up taking Shetty down 2-0. Oh gosh, so much talking. I'm out of water too. Well, I'm out of tea, and I didn't fill out my water bottle, so that's out. Christy Love, thank you for the follow. Alright, so that means that our next match is going to be Aloria against Grimwood. Ugh. Ugh. Sorry, that was very appropriate for a stream, right? I'm pretty worn out. I just need a moment to breathe. And then we do bam. Goblin noises are the best. Who doesn't love a good goblin noise? Oh, hey, Grim's already here. I was wondering where Grim was, but apparently Shetty and him swapped without me even noticing. It's very sneaky. Sneaky like a snake. Alright, heading into the lore finals. We're going to be having a Brasmere matchup. Oh, this is good. This is a good start. This got me going. I'm ready for this. Aloria going in Chakram Megawatt against Grimwood's Thunderbird Roaster. Aloria going to be the first one to land a couple of quick blows and holds on to a bit of an advantage state, but Grim going to find a nice opportunity to go in for the Roaster. Gets a Thunderbird grab combo. But he's going to get caught out as Aloria dives into the air like the beautiful brass angel and counters. Keeping that pressure up, Aloria going to knock Grim into near critical with a quick 1-2. Grim now next to being KO'd. Aloria also in a very vulnerable state and is going to get caught out by that rush. Aloria going to throw out that rush. It is going to be able to successfully connect as Grim it was still in the process of moving. He gets a quick 1-2 to break out of that corner pressure. Grim finds his way out. It is now in a much stronger position. Gets a stun. Follows up with the Roaster and quickly balances out the health pool. Grim gonna try to go in for the rush, but it's not gonna be able to connect. And Aloria trying to close in the distance. Gets a chain of heavy blows. That Thunderbird just barely missing, but the Roaster is going to find its way in. And Grim takes the first round. That was glorious. Just beefy breast men going at it. No bean salad. Yes. And I think everything is set. Grim going to make an adjustment to go in as Dr. Coil. Aloria going to go in as Min Min. And we will be facing off in Vyodoshe. What you would expect to be a great stage for Max Brass. Neither are going to go in as Brass. Oh, that's a sign. I was really confused why my overlay looked weird. It's just a sign. Grimwood going in with a Springman loadout on Dr. Coil. Aloria going in has brought the homie back out into the range. Is looking to cause a blast. Chakram, a really solid pick to complement the homie, as it's just a very safe and rewarding rush. Coupled up with the homie, it's scary. I think Grim might have had a shield breaker, didn't choose to go for it though. Didn't want to give Aloria too much rush. Even off of the potential just additional damage he might have got off of a shield breaker. And is going to be rewarded a bit as he's able just to keep up some strong pressure and safely blocks the rush. Forces Aloria to go in for some kind of approach, and Grim going to be able to capitalize with a double punch. And now, just looking for a little bit more damage off of any single hit will be enough to take Aloria down. Grim going to be able to successfully connect. For a second, I thought that was the same post posted twice. I'm like, Nightbot, why? I'm gonna go in with Doug Bull Scully, just looking to try to pressure and poke Aloria down. Just keep that spiny little speed, that little pressure, and prevent Aloria from having any breathing room whatsoever. Goes in for the rush. It's gonna connect for 240 damage, and Grimwood holding on to a light lead here. Makes it even larger with a strong grab, turning that light lead into a moderate one, and even greater as just more and more Scully pokes get in there for more pressure and more damage. One more hit is going to be all it takes, and Grim brings the score to 2-0 in his advantage. I wonder what Aloria's going to want to do in response to this. Pretty solid. This is Dr. Coil's a very scary character. Whammer doesn't work very well against a Dr. Coil. But there are a couple of nice tools that Aloria definitely can pick out. I know Min Min can work pretty effectively, provided they get the right dragon arm set up. But it looks like Grimwood is going to switch over to Masango for this next round. Trying to pull that old random button out. He's confident that he's got control of this matchup. Aloria likely wanting to try to catch him off guard with this and capitalize on this randomized character pick. Aloria going in with the Ram in tow now. Something that's going to be a pretty effective counter to any armored state that Masango might possess. I don't believe it's as big, but it has that guaranteed knockdown and does a little bit more damage on hits. Has a bit better rush too. And coupled up with the homie, that's still going to be extremely scary. Grimwood starting off in the advantage with a slight lead on health. Does give Aloria another Dragon Arm, but does have the Mask equipped as well. So he can try to dodge around all these attacks, get some pressure in, but he's gonna get knocked down. Tries to close in that distance. Equips the Yellow Mask and is looking to try to utilize that armor to try to pressure Aloria out. And he's going to be able to connect for about 300 damage, 350 landing the nade. But he's going to get caught out as Aloria throws out a 455 damage rush, immediately puts himself back in the lead. Aloria just looking for one more hit, a potential grab. It's not going to be it, as Grim catches that landing and is looking to try to get this pressure going, but gets caught out. The armor being a huge disadvantage with how little health he had, and allows Aloria to capitalize on a few quick chip hits and a KO. Heading into this next round, Grimwood gonna go double revolver and try to just wall Aloria out with a couple of like just very, very fast wide coverage arms. Aloria aiming the Ram pretty effectively though, has had a bit of a luck just preventing Grim from really utilizing the double revolver. And that Yellow Mask not going to be able to work out as he does not get rush in time. Gonna miss that rush pretty handedly as double revolver just extremely difficult to aim well. Does get a final hit on the revolver, allowing him to get a safe grab. Aloria just holding on, trying to patiently play this out with a pretty sizable lead. Just patiently trying to dodge between these shots while these doubles blast out with the Ram and is going to be able to connect one more time, bringing the score to 1-1. But Masango just kind of messed out on that round. Revolver's a really tricky arm. You have to be on point with that. It's not something you can kind of just throw out left, right, and center and have work for you. Majestic. I'm glad you enjoy it. It's 2-1 Grimwood's favor. This is... But yeah, it's a best of 5 here, so 2-1 is accurate. Oh, did I say 1-1? I meant 2-1. Grimwood gonna go in with Masengo once more. Has a much more just steady loadout with the Roaster Mander equipped. And it's going to start off with both players very close. Grim getting a slight lead off of that hit, but Aloria quickly balancing it out once more. Sees a moment to go in for a very safe and rewarding rush. 495, nearly a 500 damage rush, just off of the rush on its own. Aloria gonna get caught out by that Roaster, and the deflect kick just not working out as it still reaches in, and Grim going to take the round. Oh yeah, I'm starting to blank out here. Diving into this next round, Grim going to go into a heavy pressure and wall loadout, equipping the Lockjaw, but ends up getting sniped down by that Ram. Tries to keep that pressure going, but is Aloria going to quickly dive out of the way, finds a moment to get that mask, that charge on, but is going to have it taken away from a 175 damage rush off of a shield break. Lockjaw just does so much chip damage that it pretty much always breaks through. Aloria tries to go in for the response, but just does not work out for them, as the timing of that grab just a little too slow, and allows Grim to get a chain of blows, taking Aloria down 3-1. And that brings us to the grand finals. Grimwood to face off against Aloria. Or Grimwood to face off against Rifa. Lockdown on the loser side. We'll need to get a bracket reset and take Rifa down a second time in order to take this. Grande finale. No, not with the J. I can't spell. That's too many L's. That's too many L's. Perfect. This is one of the problems with... Oh yeah. This is one of the problems with commentary on your own, is once you lose, it's a lot easier to lose steam, and once you do lose steam, it's so much rougher. Alright, we are all set. And ready to go. I'm looking forward to lunch, because I've made a new plan. I'm gonna have my lunch, I'm swapping my lunch and dinner meals, so that my lunch is a lot more filling and bigger and plentiful, and my dinner is just kind of more to get me going to finish off the night. Heading into the grand finals, Grimwood gonna go in with Twintel, going in with the Roaster Chilla once more. Potentially seeing a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel from some of his previous matches against Rifa with this loadout. Had a bit of luck, and so far is working out fairly favorably. Both players slowly building up to a rush. Rifa slowly just bringing things back. Gets a couple of nice reads, catches with the Tri-Blast. Just some safe pokes and just making sure Grimwood just cannot be comfortable. Throws out the rush, but he's going to end up missing out on it and gets sniped down by another Ice Dragon. Gets a freeze, is able to get the grab off of that. Was close enough that Rifa just was not able to respond in time. And quickly tries to start building up another rush. Rifa gonna throw out his, lines up the shot, gets 370, is now one hit away from taking Grimwood down. And it's going to be one more shot. Rifa going to be able to connect and takes the first round. Heading into the next round, Grimwood equipping a very default loadout, throws on the double Chilla and is going to be able to connect just before the Ice Dragon pokes in there. Rifa though quickly dives right out of the way of some more pressure and gets a grab and finds that investment that Grimwood just throws out with that charged Chilla and gets a 380 damage grab off of it. Or 380 damage rush. Grabs are also Chillas now. Everything is a Chilla. That final shot was a Chilla. Rifa takes the first round. Oh god, so there's still April 1st memes going around. Please. I've seen enough of them. I'm content with Splatoon Beach. Square Kirby was really good. I don't need more. Pikmin Central is also really nice. I love that one. I love all the jokes. What if this whole tourney is a joke? Might be a joke to you, might be a joke to me, might be a joke to the players, but right now it looks like everybody's taking it pretty seriously. I just didn't have the energy to come up with anything funny and to try to pull it through. And it doesn't look like Rifa has the energy to pull any punches, as he's just been continuing to throw out these barrages of shots, these attacks, and just giving Grimwood such a hard time. Grimwood switching back to Springman is looking to use the Cooler Rain Roaster loadout to get something to work. He's going to be able to safely block that rush. And is going to successfully land his rush, gets 345 off, and is going to be in a health lead. This is in Grand Finals, believe is the true final boss. That's never been, that only happened with the Scrap Yard, not the Scrap Star. Is Grim using the same arms just on Spring? Yes, he is. You find some arms that you really like, sometimes you just want to stick with them. Gets disarmed, and that's going to be a extremely safe rush for Rifa. I think that might have been a 400 damage rush if that all actually finished off. Not going to be the case though, as Grimwood just did not have the health in him. Tries to go in for the rush, does get 30 damage off of a couple of quick chip hits, but it's not going to be enough to be able to really get any solid start. Does get a quick 1-2 though, and that's going to put Grimwood in the health lead. Gets a good grab and is quickly building up another rush. Chooses to utilize it. Rifa, stuck in the corner, is unable to evade it and takes 310 damage. Grim, trying to space things out, is looking to try to build up as much rush as possible. Gets a couple strong hits on Rifa and brings the score to 1-1. Starting things off, Grimwood sticking with the double roaster. It had some success for him. That chain not going to be able to work out, but Rifa does get a bit of light damage off the shield chips, but does give Grimwood a rush ready for him to throw out, and it's going to successfully connect 280 damage. Both players just trying to find their way in. Grimwood leaps into the air, and Rifa gonna quickly capitalize on it, reminding him how much he's been ready for that after that chain of jumps that Grimwood had applied in the previous match. Rifa just waiting for more opportunities to go in for punishes, just kind of throwing out safe pokes, waiting to see what Grimwood's gonna do. With a sizable health lead, there's little reason for him to get too invested into anything. 30 seconds left on the clock, though. It can be pretty dicey if Grim finds an opportunity to get a rush in at the last second. Rifa lands another knockdown with the Tri-Blast. Grim closing the distance, going to land another roaster. And is looking to keep that pressure hot, just throwing out a flurry of attacks. And going to successfully connect with the rush for 230 seconds. Only a few seconds left on the clock. And Rifa just going to time it out. Barely. Grimwood unable to find his way around. And Rifa brings the score to 2-0 and makes Maleef too anxious to say anything. Just kind of breathless for a moment. Ah, sorry. Both players diving straight back into the same map. And we are going to start off right away with Grimwood putting on a Tri-Bolt and getting knocked down twice by the Tri-Blast. Rifa switching the Ice Dragon over for a Slamamander, trying to change up the tempo, potentially worried that the Ice Dragon just wasn't working out anymore. And is starting out with a pretty sizable lead and some solid pressure. Grimwood trying to close in the distance, get some pressure, apply some aggression, but is just not having it work out and chooses to get KO'd. Getting knocked down by Grim. Rifa by Riff. Grim getting knocked down by a Scooby-Doo. Rifa. Rifa takes the first round. It is now one round away from taking his 8th Scrapstar Series and starts off strong, taking away Grimwood's rush and slapping him onto the ground. Grimwood tries to go in for a punish but ends up getting caught out by a hefty rush and is locked into the corner. A grab is all Rifa needs. Any damage is all Rifa needs to close this out, and Grimwood just accepts it. He just surrenders. Oh, I didn't even fix that again. Go Maleef. Woo! Rifa wins. Another Scrapstar. 8 of them. 8 of them. Rifa is swimming in Scrapstars.